So it is 8 o'clock and today I'm attempting to read Once Upon a Broken Heart in 24 hours. I am travelling to Tamworth today, so it's going to be quite hectic. Like, my parents are here, I've got to pack the car, I've got to travel there, and then checking into the hotel and stuff, so a bit chaotic, but I thought it would be fun to try and do this. And I just really want to, because everyone keeps recommending this book. I'm so intrigued about what it's about, and I don't know too much about it. I thought she was cursed, the main character, Evangeline, and she can't kiss who she wants to kiss. But I think I've got that wrong, because I'm reading the synopsis, like the blurb, and I don't think I've got that right. So I'm just going to go into it not knowing too much. I know it's very fairy tale-esque, and I think it might have some nods to some like typical fairy tales out there. I will check in with you throughout the day, probably at like quarter, after I've read like a quarter of the book, then half the book, etc. So wish me luck. I can't wait. I love the dedication. For anyone who's ever made a bad decision because of a broken heart. Yes. I really, really love it when there's a map, there's stuff at the beginning. I love that. I like that it's really mystical and really fairy tale-like. So that was a complete fail this morning. I read like 3 pages, everyone was speaking, so I'm actually going to start the timer now. Can we get the thingy? Yeah. I'm going to do it on Leland's phone because I use my phone to film. So it is 11:40 and then get the timer. And then I've got 24 hours from now. Wish me luck. Right, the first stop. Say hi, Mum. Hi. Say hello.
Hello.
It's been 4 hours. It's now 3:30, and I've read to 109. So we've just checked into our hotel. So glad, like, I'm getting really excited now. I've got a wedding on Monday, which is why this is like the bridal party jumper attire. We've just arrived in Tamworth and I am 20% of the way through. I've just ended on a really good stopping point, but I can't wait to pick it back up and read it. But I thought I would do a little debrief now and quickly explain the plot of this book, because now I know what the book's about. And the story follows Evangeline, who is a girl who is in love with this guy called Luke, I think. Like, it's L-U-C. I don't know if that's Luck or Luke. I don't think it's either of them, but she's in love with this guy and he is set to marry her stepsister. So she wants to stop this marriage. She thinks there's more to it, like he's been cursed or something twisted is going on, because she can't fathom why he's marrying her, because they're meant to be in love. So she seeks out the Prince of Broken Hearts, and he is this being called the Fates, who are these like mythical magical creatures. And it's been said that you shouldn't make a deal with a fate, because you always have to give up something, and it's always more than you expect. So if you make a deal, you have to give up something, and yeah, it's not good, it's not advised. And he is called the Prince of Broken Hearts because apparently his heart has stopped, and the only person who can make his heart beat again is his soulmate, the love of his life. But he doesn't know who that is, and
he can't find who that is because every woman he kisses turns to stone, and the only woman he can kiss is his true love. But obviously he doesn't know how to find her. I don't think he's really interested in finding her. So he's like always had unrequited love. Anyway, she finds him and he's called Jax, and they end up making this deal, and he's like, I will stop this wedding, but in exchange you have to kiss 3 people of my choosing anywhere at any time. Now, she thinks this is easy. This isn't a big thing to give up. So she agrees to it. He does stop the wedding, and a lot of things unfold, and she does realise that she shouldn't have made any deals with Jax, and she has to pay a lot bigger price than she ever thought she would. It's set in a world where like magic is a thing, but it's not set in like modern times. They dress in like gowns and there's balls, etc. I am loving the world so far. I just love how fairy tale-y it is. I'm enjoying that aspect of the book, and I'm kind of liking the little nods, like she has an evil stepmother and then a stepsister where you don't really know her true feelings yet. I feel bad for the stepsister, she's going through it right now, but I think there's a bit more to her that we don't know. I'm excited to find that out. Basically, she lives in the south where you don't really know much about magic. It's a bit of a fairy tale, like mystical beings and like dragons, etc. But in the north, that's where all the magic is. And there's actually a curse that anyone that leaves the north, if they try and tell stories to anyone about what's going on in the north or about magical beings in the north, any memories they've had there, like every time they tell the story, facts change and people can't finish what they were going to say, or a memory ends up being told a bit differently. So truth becomes a fairy tale, and I really like that aspect of the book. And you find more about that when she talks about her parents. Her dad was a southerner and her mum was from the north. So they met in the north, but whenever they told Evangeline stories about how they met, it always changes, and the end is somewhat the same. They fell in love, but the little facts and fine details are never straightforward because of the curse on everyone that leaves the north. I just think that's so clever, and it makes you question everything that you hear, because no one will ever know the truth unless you go to the north. I think that's quite cool. So at the moment, I'm really enjoying it. The pacing is great. I'm loving the world building because Evangeline, she's just gone up to the north. So we've had a bit of both. We've had the south and the north. And I like Evangeline. I love her look and the clothes she's been wearing. In the scenes that I've just read, she's wearing this really lovely white gown, which makes her look like a statue. I love her rose gold hair. I want more from her though. Like, I'm not obsessed with her yet, and I feel like there's more to her. She's treading on eggshells a bit, but I want her to make more drastic choices. Like at the start, she made that deal with the fates and stuff, her whole life gets turned upside down basically. And at the moment, she's a bit treading on eggshells, not sure how to navigate. And I don't like the guys that she's in love with, or the guys that she likes. Like, they're men that just want attention and they're big for their boots. And I'm like, no, you don't need a guy like that. And I don't think she will get a guy like that because of my predictions. And I won't say them until I get to the spoiler bit. But I'll quickly talk about Jax. I'm loving his look. I wasn't keen on the blonde hair at the start, but now in the later chapters, he's got dark hair. So I'm liking his look now. It's a bit rugged, like sharp features, bit creepy looking, but everyone's really drawn to him. I want to know more about Jax. There's a lot of question marks to him, and I think there's a lot more to come. Anyway, now I'm going to talk about the spoiler bit. And these are my predictions and some things that are more niche to what's going on right now. So if you don't want to know any of that, please use the timestamp on the YouTube video. But they are so soulmates, right? That like, she is the one that can start his heart again, I think. And more reason why I think this is because of the stories that her mum used to tell her. Where is it? The Ballad of the Archer and the Fox, a romantic tale about a crafty peasant girl who could transform into a fox, and the young archer who loved her but was cursed with the need to hunt her down and kill her. And it then goes on to say that she had a tiny crush on the archer. I think that's nodding to the fact that she kind of has a little crush on Jax now. I mean, I think there's something more there. And it's called like the fox girl. Like she never knows, she never finds out if Archer kissed his fox girl. Again, it's really nodding to the fact that Jax has kissed a lot of women and they've turned to stone, and he's never been able to find his like soulmate, whatever. And I'm thinking she's the fox in this story and he is the archer trying to hunt her down. I don't know, but that's the vibe I'm getting. Plus, why I think that as well is that she's just, when she goes to the north, she's looking at everything and she's in awe, and everything's reminding her of all the tales her mother used to tell her. And it says that something reminded her of her mother's embroidery. She was always stitching curious images like foxes and keyholes into dresses. And this brings me back to chapter 1. So this was said in chapter 12 with the keyholes. The story where you find out about the archers and the fox was in chapter 8. And literally chapter 1, Jax is like, how did you find me? How did you get in here? And she's like, I was just nice to it. And he says, did you have a key? And she said, no, there wasn't even a keyhole. And I don't know, I just feel like keyholes is significant. I don't know why, but I just think it is. Then to top it all off, the chapter that I've just got to, chapter 13, he calls her Little Fox. It's all connecting already. I mean, there must be more to it because it's literally only quarter of the way through, and already Fox has been mentioned so many times. So I think it's nodding the fact that she's this fox in the fairy tale, or there might be a prophecy or something. I don't know. I'm not liking this prince character. He just seems like a bit of an a-hole, the way he's posing for the portrait, but she's been tasked to kiss him. I wonder why Jax has done that. Like, I want to know why he picked the prince. I can't wait to see how she does it, because surely she's not going to die. I know this is a trilogy, so. Lastly, before I finish this, I'm really intrigued about the guy that, like, I think he might have been a guard or something, but the guy that she spoke to before she entered the party, and he was like, are you going to stand there all night? Because she was admiring the archway, basically. And he was like, oh, are you ever going to walk through, or are you going to freeze to death and stand there all night, or something like that? But his face was covered, but they had a bit of a moment, and I think there's more to that character, and I have a feeling that he is the prince's younger brother, maybe. I don't know, there's a vibe going on. Like, he winked at her, he made a little joke about, oh, you might be the princess. She didn't really give him any thought. She was a bit creeped out by him because of his whole look. Like, he was really covered up, but you could see his, like, he had like a dirty blonde hair and a chiseled jaw. That's all she could see. And they might get together, who knows? I don't know. But I just think there's more to this character. And I don't think this Prince Apollo guy is going to be anything. But who knows? Right. Love that little debrief. And I will see you at 50% through.
I'm videoing. How long?
13 hours, 20 minutes.
Okay, I have 13 hours, 20 minutes left. And I don't know, I'm at 50%, so you never know. I could do this. I still need to sleep. So I'm not sure how it's gonna go, but I am 50%. And whoa, stuff's getting interesting. I don't know what the hell is going to happen. I don't understand what Jax wants. I'm really trying to figure out, but I want Evangeline to just turn around and be like, I'm not gonna do it, and really see what Jax does. Because I'm at the moment now where she's only got one kiss left to give. She's just performed like the duty of the second kiss, and they're being taken to the vault. That's where I'm at. It's really frustrating at the moment because I like how bad Jax is, but I hate how vulnerable Evangeline is. But I'm still really enjoying it. I feel bad for Evangeline. I do not trust her sister, her stepsister. Something dodgy as hell is going on there. I don't like her. I think she's being fake. I think she might have a deal with Jax. I don't know what's going on. When she hears Jax in her head, Evangeline, so throughout the book, there's been 2 instances where she's heard Jax's voice in her head, but he's not around, or he's not looking at her, not speaking to her. And she's like, oh, I wonder how he's got in my head. Am I imagining it? I think that Jax is thinking it, but he doesn't know that Evangelina is hearing it. And she's hearing it, not knowing that Jax is actually doing it, if you get what I mean. So I think they both don't know, and they could be fated or something. I don't know. But again, I don't think she's going to end up with this Prince Apollo person. I just don't know what's going to happen. I want Evangeline to have a random card where she messes up Jack's plans, and yeah, that would be cool. But I doubt I'm going to be able to check in at 75% through, because I'm probably going to be reading late at night and really early in the morning to try and get this done. So this might be the last check-in until the end. See if it is. See how it goes. I am loving it though. I'm loving this. I'm obsessed with it. I can't wait to finish it, and I'm already thinking about the next one.
Right, I had a feeling that when she was passing through these arches, and when she first came into the north, that what she heard was just speaking to her, and they definitely are. Like, I think she's special. She's definitely of this royal family bloodline or something. Like, maybe her mum escaped, and that's when she met Evangeline's dad, and they escaped to the south. It's got to be something. She's definitely royal, and I think Jax knows who she is, and I think that's why he wants her to marry the king, like Prince Apollo. She was able to get into, like, open the broken heart door at the beginning in chapter 1, and he knew that that wasn't possible unless you were someone like special, because in, what chapter was it? In chapter 28, the woman describes that these portals, these arches, can only be used by specific people, but then Jax is like, no, it can be used by any of the royals. I can't remember what they're called, the vaults or something, whatever that family's called that's been beheaded. They can all enter any passageway, wherever they are, no matter what, and that will prove why she was able to do it, because she is part of that royal bloodline. We'll see. So, good morning. I slept past my alarm. So it is 7:30, and I've got like 3 hours or something left. 4 hours left on my time. So we'll see how far I get through. I'm hoping at least 70% would be great. So quickly this morning, I do not trust Evangeline's sister. So as you could see in that last clip, I have like 2 hours left. I've literally only read for like an hour this morning because I needed to start getting ready. And yeah, I overslept my alarms. I didn't get up till like 8 o'clock or 6:30. So I really slept and was at meals for most of these 24 hours. And chatting with family. So it was a bit of a fail, and I am gonna stop the timer now because my best friend's having a rehearsal dinner today and I need to get stuff ready for her. So my bridesmaids duties are like starting now, basically. There's a lot to do. So I've definitely failed this challenge. I think it was fun to try and do it in this short space of time, like while I was going to Tamworth, but actually in the end, it's a bit chaotic. But it was still really fun. And instead, I'm changing the challenge to I'm gonna finish the book before I go back home because I'll be able to read a little bit tonight. Like I'll sneak little reads. I've got a 40-minute drive to the restaurant later. And then I've got the car journey back after the wedding because I'm not gonna be reading at all tomorrow. Anyway, so I thought I'd quickly debrief where I'm at while I get ready. And yeah. So a fail of the 24-hour challenge. However, if I was actually reading and paused the time every time I read, I could do it in 24 hours, but I wanted to try and do it in a day because I think that's more of a challenge, you know? You've got to try and read it all in one day or in one full 24 hours, no matter if you're sleeping, whatever. So yeah, I'll definitely be doing this challenge again when I've got less to do. I got to page 279 and I'm on the third act. I think it's called act or third part, which I think is called Chaos. Yeah, Chaos. So I'm there and I'm loving it. I am loving it. It is such a good book. Stuff is getting twisty for Evangeline. Just every turn, she's just, nothing is going to plan for her. But then some people would say, does she deserve it because she did make the deal with Jax at the beginning? I don't know. I'm really liking her character now a bit more. And a lot happens in part 2. A lot goes on. I think I did a mini debrief last night, so I don't really want to repeat too much. Evangeline is set to marry and she thinks once they get married, he won't love her anymore because of the deal she's made with Jax, and she's in turmoil about, should we get married? Shouldn't I? If I do get married, like, am I gonna get my happily ever after, etc. I like that we're meeting more fates. We're finding a bit more about them and about how their emotions work and how intense they can be. I kind of want Evangeline to have powers, I don't know. Like, I don't think she's normal. I could be wrong, I don't know. I just think I want her to be like a bit more badass. Like if she had a power, it would be quite cool. She's still quite badass, but she's just still that doe-eyed, I want a fairy tale happy ending. But at the moment, Jax and Evangeline, they're working together. I'm loving the tension that's building up between those two. I don't know how to carry on without being spoilery. I think this is going to be spoilers, so if you want to skip this part. I died when he had to hold her, like to keep her from dying when she had been poisoned. I love this bit. He held her as if she were a grudge, his body rigid and tense, as if he really didn't want her there, and yet his arms were tight around her waist, as though he had no intention of ever letting her go. Such a romantic, I just love it. Can you imagine if he's not the actual love interest? I do see people talk about Jax, so I'm assuming it's him. She's 100% been poisoned by a stepsister. Come on. It's obvious. Or like, I feel like the stepsister and the brother, like the Prince Apollo's brother, they're in cahoots. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like, I think she's called Marigold. What is she called? Marisol. Because she wanted to get salt, didn't she? She wanted to get salt. She was like, I need to get that salt for baking. And I think she knows what Evangeline did. And I think she always knew that Evangeline loved the first guy, Luke or Luck or whatever, and she went after him. I think there's more twisty stuff to do with her. I could be overthinking it, she's too sweet, you know, and like doe-eyed and look after me. I just think something more sinister's at play. We've just found out Lala is a Fate as well, and they're besties now. I love that. And her outfit to go to meet the vampire Fate Chaos is fire, I've literally just finished that chapter where she's just been dressed and she has a kind of moment with Jack when they're looking at each other and his eyes go a bit murderous when he sees how much is on display. There was a moment where I thought that Apollo's brother was that guy, which she's had 2 meets with him and they've been really suspicious and out of nowhere. But I don't think that anymore because we've met the brother. So I'm wondering who he is. Like, is he even a guard? Do you know what I mean? Like, does he even work in the castle? Like, is he just following her as well? It's just been, Jax has been freaked out that he couldn't mind control Evangeline. I like that little tale. And just the fact that he had to hold her to warm her, like, to keep her from dying. I don't know where it's gonna go. Like, who else could be behind it all? It cannot be anyone other than her stepsister, surely. But there could be more to it. Again, with the whole foxes. To be fair though, I think I'm clutching at straws there, because then I realise her surname is Evangelina Fox. So that might be why he's calling her Little Fox. That might be why her mum told her fairy tales of foxes and why she embroidered foxes in her clothes. So I might have been stretching earlier with my previous predictions. Yeah, I think every moment she has with Jax, I'm just like, They don't have any deals anymore. He's used up all 3 kisses, so that's done. So like now she's just working with him because she can, like from her own free will. I will keep checking in when I do read and do a little filming, but I think I've done well. I have done well. I've only got that much to go. And like I said, if I just added up my reading hours, it has not been 24 hours. Obviously it hasn't been 24 hours, but I definitely could have done it. It's funny because all these predictions and things I'm saying, it's just making me laugh because you're watching this, you've read the book. You're gonna be like, she's so right or she's so wrong. So I shall see you in the future clips, and I cannot wait to debrief the end of this book with you. What? Finished. I loved this book. It was so good. I didn't end up finishing it the day after the wedding because, yeah, I was so tired and hungover. So I've lost my voice slightly, so I'm probably going to be a lot more croaky compared to all the other clips in this video. I thought I would just quickly summarize my experience of the book, what I liked, and yeah, about the predictions I made and what I expect for book 2. This isn't gonna be like a long ending, just a little summary, but altogether I loved it. And I love Evangeline and Jax. They are so funny, like the banter between them and like the love-hate relationship they have for each other, like is really interesting. The whole world and magical system is great. It's so unique, but then also like the intrinsic magical like rules, like when you leave the north and the south or the south and the north, whatever, but if you try and tell people stories about the north, like it's cursed, so truth becomes legend, etc. I really like that aspect of it. I think it was really clever and it adds a lot of mystery and question marks to the book. To be fair, altogether the pacing was really good, and I think it ended the book quite well, and it did well to set book 2 up because I literally can't wait to get my hands on it. I need it now. I wish I had it. This is the problem when you start loads of series and you just get book 1 because you're trying them all out. You end up ending the book just wanting to pick up the next one straight away but not having the book. So you're just like, argh. Anyway, overall I gave this a 4 out of 5 because it was a solid read, but it hasn't been my most favourite read of the year, so I didn't feel like it deserved a higher mark than that. So let's now go over my predictions. I got so many of these wrong. It really did make me laugh because I am an overthinker when I read. I'm that person that likes predicting stuff and getting it right, and then I'm like, yes, I knew it, and it adds a lot to the reading experience for me if I can work it out before finding it out. Now, this is a spoiler. Okay, I feel like now going from this point is gonna be spoilers. So overall I love the book, and if you haven't read this book, read it, and then come back and watch this video so you can listen to the spoilers. So some of the things I got completely wrong, like that soldier guy. One thing I did get right, he wasn't a soldier, and he kept showing up to speak to Evangeline like randomly throughout the book, and you thought he was one of the king's guards, but he wasn't. And I thought maybe he was a potential love interest, but I don't think he is now because he's a vampire. And I think he's one of the fates called Chaos, and when they met properly and Evangeline finds out who he is, like there's no intrigue about romance there, I didn't feel, in those chapters. But I want to know why he randomly showed up. Like, that was never explained, and I hope we get some clarification in the next book. Like, why was he randomly there at the party just to speak to Evangeline and then disappear? Why was he outside of that bookshop that Evangeline was trying to get into in the dead of night and then disappeared? Like, it's not explained, and I need to know why. That was a bit frustrating for me. Again, that's why I would not get more than a 4 stars. I was left with some question marks, which I felt should have been explained in this book. And then second, we find out that Evangeline is not Jax's soulmate, because that's actually the princess. That completely couldn't have guessed that. I was completely blindsided. It was so shocking to me. I just didn't expect it. And I really did think Evangeline was his soulmate that would make his heart beat again. So that surprised me. And it's sad that it didn't turn out the way Jax wanted to, but it might explain why he has more feeling and banter with Evangeline, because his heart is now beating. So yeah, I wonder if that's going to get explained more, like about the princess and Jax's relationship, and why the princess helped Jax get Evangeline to the north. Like, if they hate each other and she wants to kill him, why did she help him? Like, I want to know this out. And who has the princess fallen in love with? And then also a prediction I did get right. Marisol was horrible, and she did curse her first love, Luke, or Luck, whatever his name is. We hate him. And she definitely cursed the Prince Apollo's brother. So yeah, I really didn't like her. She was so two-faced. But again, Evangeline, she just kept like getting tricked by her, and that was slightly frustrating. I was like, come on, just stick to the signs. But yeah, the big twist at the end, the fact that Apollo is actually alive and Jax set the whole thing up. I mean, I think I'm getting tricked by Jax, because I was thinking, oh no, he's actually a decent person. But then he did say he didn't kill Apollo. And that's somewhat true, because he didn't kill him. He just put him in this sleep. A bit like Sleeping Beauty, but reversed. When I finished the book, I had 2 main thoughts. The first one was, what on earth is going on? That last chapter, did Evangeline open the Valerie Arch, or is it hinting that the Valerie Arch knows that she's gonna come and open the arch? Like, I couldn't gauge whether she'd gone and done it by herself so she can see what's in it and get the information that's inside the arch before Jax, or if the arch is just sensing it's gonna be opened soon. That was a lot of question marks for me. I can't gauge whether it opened or not. Its hinges creaked, which makes me feel like it's opening. And it ends with Evangeline saying she knew exactly which door she needed to open next. What is it? So that's why I need the next book. And then also, I am confused with the 3 kisses, because I thought that she'd done all the 3 kisses that Jax said. First one being Apollo, the second one being that matriarch, like that older lady who was hiding the arch underneath her house, and the third one was Apollo again on Evangeline's and Apollo's wedding night, because each time Jack put blood on her lips. So I was just assuming that meant that the third kiss was when she kissed Apollo and sent him into this deep sleep. I know Evangeline wanted to kiss him, so maybe that's why it didn't count as one of the kisses, but that whole meeting on her wedding night made me feel like that was the last kiss. But twice, and at the end of the book, it mentions that there's still one kiss in the debt. She's still got a broken heart tattoo on her wrist. That confused me. Okay, now to finish the video, expectations for the next book. I want to learn more about Evangeline's powers and about her parents, because I think her parents knew something. I'm adamant they did. And I think she's got more powers than opening doors. So I hope we learn a bit more about that. I hope we meet more fates, because I think we've met 5 fates so far. And I think there's 12, if I'm right. So I hope, we meet more of them in the next book. I want to know who her other love interest is, because I know there's 2 people that they're team Jax or they're team someone else just from the fandom online and seeing the book. But I can't remember the other guy. And surely it's not Apollo, because Evangeline's and Apollo's relationship's all fabricated. It's all like forced. So surely it can't be that. It could be, but I'd be pretty gutted with that. Unless Apollo awakens in the next book and we actually see a relationship form between them. Yeah. And of course, I want more flirtatious moments between Evangeline and Jax, because I love their banter in this book. It was really funny and spot on. So altogether, I failed this reading challenge. However, it was a good time, and I think I did quite well to get like 80%, 75% of the way through whilst all the wedding-y bits was going on. So this is the second reading vlog I've ever done. I did a reading vlog of R.F. Kuang's books, Babel, Yellowface, and The Poppy War Book 1. So if you like this reading vlog, I'll link it in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.